All right, Algebra 1, we are now moving on to day 3 and day 4 of Chapter 8. Day 3 is talking about multiplying binomials by binomials instead of just one distributing. It's 2 by 2. And then dividing. So before we get started, it's still the same product rule. So when you multiply, you add the exponents. And then something to keep in mind, I don't really usually call it FOIL, but I just say the first number times both numbers, and then the second number times both numbers. Okay, that's how FOILing works. If you have a binomial times a binomial, you need to make sure to multiply the first times both, the second times both. Okay, so for example, here I've got this first one multiplied by both of the other numbers. So x times x is x squared. X times 4 is 4x. And I'm done with that one. Now I move on to positive 2, and I multiply 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 4 is 8. And now, at the end, we always need to make sure to look for like terms. So x squared is the biggest one. Then I've got 4 plus 2 is 6x. And then constant is 8. So combine like terms, and we're done. Okay? So for example 2, we're doing the same thing. Okay? I've got 2x to start. So 2x times both of these, 2x times x is 2 times 1 is 2, x times x is x squared. And then 2 times negative 5 is negative 10x. And then now positive 1, got to multiply both. 1 times 1 is 1x. Then 1 times negative 5 is negative 5. And again, look for like terms. 2x squared is my biggest one. I've got negative 10x plus 1 is negative 9x. And then our constant, negative 5. And there we go. So, a lot of examples are very similar. We just got to make sure to pay close attention to our signs. Okay? So, for instance, I'm going to actually change that to number 2. So, number 2, I've got k times both of these. So, k times k is k squared. K times 5 is 5k. Now, when I multiply the second one, it's not just 4, it's negative 4. Very important to understand what the sign is. So, negative 4 times k is negative 4k. Negative 4 times 5 is negative 20. And so, k squared doesn't have any like terms. 5 minus 4 is positive 1k. Almost wrote x. 1k minus 20, since 20 doesn't have any like terms. Okay? So, looking at this next one, I've got number 3, same deal. X times both, x times x is x squared. X times negative 4 is negative 4x. Now, it's not just 10, it's negative 10. So negative 10 times x is negative 10x. Negative 10 times negative 4 is positive 40. Negative times negative, positive. And so x squared, negative 4 plus negative 10 is negative 14x plus 40. Final answer. Okay? And so let's look at one with not just an x in front. So number 7 has 3y. 3y times both. 3 times 3 is 9. Y times y is y squared. 3 times 2 is 6 and a y. Positive 1 times both. 1 times 3y is 3y. 1 times 2 is 2. Look at your like terms. 9y squared is first, then 6 plus 3 is 9y, and then plus 2. And there we go. So, one more on this page. We've got 9 here as 8h times both. So 8 times 3 is 24. H times h is h squared. 8 times negative 1 is negative 8h. Now we move on to negative 3. Negative 3 times 3 is negative 9h. Negative times negative is positive 3. And so we've got 24h squared negative 17h plus 3. And there we go. So that's binomial times binomial. Make sure to multiply the first times both, the second times both. Okay, so this one can be a little tricky because we've got two variables. So 5 times both is going to be 5 times 1 is 5. X times x is x squared. Nothing new there. But then you go 5 times negative 1 is negative 5. X times y is just xy. So those do not go together. It's just next to each other. X times y is just xy. So the second one, we've got 4y times x is positive 4xy again. And then 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. Y times y is y squared. And so in this case, xy and xy, those are like terms. So 5x squared stays the same. Negative 5 plus 4 is negative 1xy. And then negative 4y squared. There it is. Don't need to rearrange here because all these are 2, so 2, 2, 2, no rearranging needed. Okay. So let's look at kind of a couple special cases here. So number 13, I've got 2r times both. 2 times 2 is 4r squared. 2r times negative s is negative 2s, rs. And then here I've got s times 2r is positive 2rs. S times negative s is negative s squared. Now look what happens. Rs and rs, those are like terms. But negative 2 plus 2 is 0, so those cancel. And I've got 4r squared minus s squared. Okay. And so the other special case we have is 15 and 17. When it says parentheses squared, okay, this is what not to do. Well, actually, let's do what to do first. When you square something, that is something times itself. So I'm actually going parentheses times parentheses. Okay? So when I do so, I've got the same situation. X times x is x squared. X times 4 is 4x. 4 times x is 4x. 4 times 4 is 16. Combine like terms in the middle. X squared plus 4 is 8x plus 16. And there we are. Okay, so you've got to rewrite it. Here's what not to do. X plus 4 squared, and then you square both of them. X squared plus 16. Wrong, 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 wrong. Do not do that. Okay? Don't do that. So instead, rewrite it. 2m minus 5 times 2m minus 5. Okay? Now let's go ahead and solve. 2m times both. 2 times 2 is 4. M times m is m squared. 2 times negative 5 is negative 10m. And now we have negative 5 times 2 is negative 10m. And then negative times negative is positive 25. So combine these like terms. I've got 4m squared in front, negative 20m in the middle, plus 25. And there we go. Final answer. So moving on to division now. We've got dividing a polynomial by a monomial. Okay? So before we do that, we need to understand the quotient rule. Okay? So remember, when I have x squared times, x squared times, let's say x to the a times x to the b, you add the exponents. Multiplication means adding. Well, division, x to the a divided by x to the b, you get the difference. That's x to the a minus b. Okay? So you're subtracting. Now what I like to do is subtract which one is bigger minus which one is smaller. Okay, so for example 1, this is really everything divided by the same thing. Okay, so what I'm really doing here is I'm going 8n squared divided by 4n minus 36n divided by 4n. Okay, you can split it up. So 8 divided by 4 is 2, and then 2 minus 1 is 1, so n to the first, or just n. Minus 36 divided by 4 is 9. N divided by n, there's nothing left, and that's my final answer. Okay, that's one way to do it. The way I like to do it is saying I'm going to divide this by this first. So negative 14 divided by 7 is negative 2. 12 minus 2 is 10, so x to the 10th. And then 5 minus 2 is 3, so y to the 3rd. And I'm done with that first one. Plus this one. 7 divided by 7 is 1. 2 minus 2 is nothing left. Okay, and then 2 minus 2 is nothing left. And that's my final answer. All right, so let's do a few examples similar to that. So this first one, I've got 6 divided by 3 is 2, with an x left over. 9 divided by 3 is positive 3. Done. Okay. Same thing here, except this is just a 1. So none of these numbers are going to change, only the exponents. So 8 divided by 1 is 8. 3 minus 1 is 2, so 8 squared. Negative 2 divided by 1 is negative 2. 2 minus 1 is 1, so a to the first. And then here, 5 divided by 1 is 5. A minus a, those cancel, and I've got just 5 now. And there we go. Now, what if we do a number and a variable? Okay, so here, number 5, the first one I see is 18 divided by 3 is 6. 3 minus 1 is 2, so c squared. Negative 21 divided by 3 is negative 7. 2 minus 1 is 1, c. And then 3 divided by 3 is positive 1. C minus c is nothing, so no c left. There we go. Okay, so let's look at the very bottom one here, number 9. And then we'll look at maybe 1 or 2 on the back. So here, I've got negative divided by negative is positive 5. And then we've got 4 minus 2 is 2 for x. 3 minus 1 is 2 for y. And then I do here. 30 minus negative 5 is negative 6. 2 minus 2 is no x's left. 5 minus 1 is 4 y's left. So y to the 4th. And there we go. Nothing left there. So let's go to the back side here and take a look at number 14, and then we'll look at 16. So number 14, I've got 15 divided by 5 is 3. 5 minus 4 is 1, so 1x left. Here I've got negative 25 divided by 5 is negative 5. And then there's actually 1 left, but it's on the bottom. So if you've got an x left on the bottom, it needs to stay on the bottom. So x to the first is left on the bottom. And then we've got 5 divided by 5 is positive 1. And then 2 x's left, also on the bottom. And so there would be my answer. So that one's kind of weird because you've got a x left, but it was on the bottom of the equation. So you got to put them on the bottom of a fraction. Okay, so last one, number 16. We've got 30 divided by 3 is 10. 5, so for r, 5 minus 2 is r to the third. For s, 9 minus 2 is 7. Next one, negative 12 divided by 3 is negative 4. For r, 4 minus 2 is 2, so 2 r's left. 8 minus 2 is 6. And then the last one, 3 divided by 3 is 1. 3 minus 2 is 1 left, r. And then 7 minus 2 is 5. And there's my final answer. Okay, so that's multiplication and division. We might do some of these challenging ones, but probably not in class just yet. Otherwise, that's all you need to know for today. Peace.